Today is the 1st of December 2024, a beautiful new month, and yet we're coming close to an end of 2024. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV this evening with me, Sharon Kyomugisha. I hope you're having a lovely evening. Today in UBC News Tonight, the government's effort to end HIV and AIDS by 2030 are showing progress, with most persons living with HIV and AIDS enrolled into ARV treatment. Mother-to-child transmission and new infections have decreased, while testing, treatment and adherence to medication remains very successful. Religious leaders have emphasized the need for parents to play an active role in instilling spiritual values in their children while having honest conversations about the realities of HIV and AIDS. As Ivan Kawa reports, persons living with HIV and AIDS are calling for the operationalization of the AIDS Trust Fund to combat stigma and integrate government programs to support those that have been affected.
The commemoration of the World AIDS Day has been held in Buyende district with a call to action by religious leaders to intensify efforts in addressing stigma against persons living with HIV. They emphasized parents having honest conversations with their children on spiritual values.
Parental guidance is essential to helping them make informed choices that protect their well-being. Let us embrace government programs such as UPE and USE to ensure our children enroll and remain in school.
Persons living with HIV call for the operationalization of the AIDS Trust Fund to address barriers hindering access to HIV/AIDS health services.
As a community, we are scared, we are aware of the dwindling funding towards HIV, but we are hopeful that government will take charge. Supporting access to government programs, facilitate and promote the inclusion of people living with and affected by HIV in government initiatives like the Parish Development Model, EMIOGA, and other social and economic empowerment programs. Addressing livelihoods is a key component for positive living.
Data as of December 2023 shows that 9 million people were tested for HIV in Uganda, an increase from 6.8 million the previous year. Among those tested, 144,000 were diagnosed with HIV, and 95% of them were enrolled on treatment. New HIV infections have reduced by 45%, from 68,000 in 2017 to 38,000 by December 2023.
It means within a period of 12 months, that's the number of people who became infected. Your Excellency, to highlight, 15,000 of these were young people between the age of 18 to 24. And we have 4,700 children between ages 0 to 14.
The Presidential Fast Track Initiative, launched in 2017 to end HIV/AIDS as a public health threat by 2030, is making progress with positive outcomes in testing, treatment and adherence to medication. Prevention of mother-to-child transmission has also improved, with 4,700 babies born with HIV in 2023, a reduction from 5,900 the previous year.
It still shouldn't happen. We think that most of this happened because of stigma and discrimination at household and community level, but this can be reduced to zero as it's being observed in some health facilities. So, Your Excellency, here the issue is around the different leaders messaging about, the technologies and innovations available in the health facility, and urging communities to use the services as much as possible.
Out of the 1.4 million people living with HIV in Uganda, about 1.3 million are on antiretroviral treatment.
Your Excellency, we've estimated that it costs about 700,000 Uganda shillings per year to maintain a patient on ARVs, including monitoring and testing. And I've spoken about the number of new infections, especially amongst young people. One of the reasons, sir, we see this is complacency amongst young people.
President Yoweri Museveni cautioned against prostitution, which contributes to the spread of HIV despite the availability of drugs.
So you people, please don't keep playing around with this problem. Yes, the drugs are there. The drugs are there to suppress the virus, but it is not eliminated. But the advantage we are looking for in suppressing the virus is that when it is very much suppressed, it doesn't spread so much.
He commended scientists for developing a new injectable medicine and pledged support to researchers working to develop a vaccine.
As we are still struggling with the Kauka, with the ARVs, with the Madagascar war, our people have found the medicine which you take one pistol every 2 months. Instead of the every day empeke. So our people, I want to thank our scientists for really doing a good job.
The Global AIDS Report 2024 by UNAIDS reveals that 39.9 million people are living with HIV globally. In 2023 alone, 1.3 million people were infected, including 120,000 children. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
So much progress made by the government, and for them to have a vision of ending HIV and AIDS by 2030. Moving on from that, the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has emphasized that the Interministerial Steering Forum would provide valuable perspectives for hosting African Cup of Nations 2027 and African Nations Championship CHAN 2025. She was chairing the first interministerial meeting to prepare for Uganda's co-hosting of the African Cup of Nations 2027 and African Nations Championship 2025. The meeting aimed to ensure timely involvement of all the relative ministries, departments and agencies. The meeting held at State House Nakasero was chaired by the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, who also chairs the local organizing committee for both events.
Ministers and Ministers of State, permanent secretaries, and senior officials from government departments and agencies attended, alongside representatives from the Federation of Uganda Football Association and the AFCON 2027 log. They discussed Uganda's preparation requirements for hosting CHAN 2025 and AFCON 2027. Mrs. Janet Museveni emphasized that the Interministerial Steering Forum would provide valuable perspectives for successfully hosting both events.
But above all, I want to thank you and thank God for bringing you together to join hands with us at the Ministry of Education and Sports as government to lift the banner of our homeland as we co-host CHAN 2025 and later AFCON 2027, as you all know by now.
She highlighted that all participating ministries and agencies must include AFCON-related activities in their medium-term expenditure framework, given their distinctive roles in the preparations.
Our effective coordination as a government shall enable the local organizing committee for AFCON 2027 to fulfill its overall mandate. And this mandate is, in quotes, to plan, organize, and execute various aspects of ensuring successful co-hosting of the African Cup of Nations, AFCON 2027 tournament, including its curtain raiser event of CHAN 2025. As you can see, all these forms of participation require us to have very good coordination to ensure that this participation is in a safe manner for those involved, but also not at an unbearable inconvenience for other persons that are going about their other business in the country.
Key planning areas she identified include airport operations, traffic management within 1 kilometer of stadiums, and accommodation facilities in Kampala, Wakiso, Hoima, Masindi, Gulu and Lila districts where event activities will take place.
Finally, Mama, there are a number of benefits that come with these competitions. One of them is the legacy sporting infrastructure in the country, in addition to the other infrastructure that will support the event. Because after this event, it means that it is possible for Uganda to host very many other sporting competitions, not only in football, but also in other sports disciplines. There's an improvement in our image, projecting the positivity index of Uganda. It's a source of forex, as many visitors will come into this country to spend their money, and definitely this will be good for the country. Also, the mobilization and the feel-good effect to Ugandans, that sometimes, amidst all our challenges, we have moments that bring Ugandans together to feel happy and enjoy their country. And finally, Mama, there are also employment and business opportunities at large.
Reporting for UBC, Baguma William.
Thank you so much, Baguma. In more stories, the third Deputy Prime Minister, Rukia Nakadama, has urged the private sector to innovate and use technology to boost trade and economic growth at the 2024 12 Visionary Awards. Nakadama was represented by Minister of Lands and Urban Development, Judith Nalakova, at the event. Take a look.
Thank you, BIDCO, and congratulations.
The Visionaries of Uganda is a private development consultancy firm that promotes Uganda Vision 2040. The firm partners with the government of Uganda, the private sector and development partners to achieve sustainable socio-economic development.
And they're the best manufacturing company of the year.
The Visionaries of Uganda Award Ceremony is an annual event organized by Visionaries of Uganda, which has been held since 2013. The ceremony recognizes the contributions of development partners towards the growth of Uganda's business sector.
To our private sector partners, we urge you to continue investing in Uganda's growth sectors, harnessing opportunities in the oil and gas, agro-industrialization, tourism, ICT, and minerals.
The third Deputy Prime Minister, Rukia Nakadama, represented by Minister for Lands, Judith Nalakova, praised the cooperation between development partners and the government in creating a favorable business environment. She emphasized the government's commitment to promoting trade by improving infrastructure and other key sectors.
The government of Uganda is committed to enhancing infrastructure, including roads, rail, energy supply. Currently, the national road network stands at 21,000 kilometers with 6,133 kilometers roads paved. The expansion of the Entebbe National Airport has also been ongoing and has enhanced Uganda's capacity to handle more international trade and tourism.
BIDCO Uganda was awarded Best Manufacturer of the Year for its dedication to improving the livelihoods of Uganda.
In BIDCO, we offer scholarships to most of those schools. Then, as far as health is concerned, we also offer, basically like if you see in Jinja hospitals, we have done a lot to give those beds, mattresses, you get? Then with the road networks also, BIDCO also does a lot of road networks. If you see in Jinja area, basically all those roads, those feeder roads, BIDCO also is involved in those road development.
The National Drug Authority and other organizations were also honored in various categories for their contributions to Uganda's development.
We've done our best to ensure that we improve our work, our efficiency in assuring that the people of Uganda get quality medicines availed to them, increasing accessibility to medicines across the country.
Wherever you want to study, we must look that the university should benchmark and meet all the standards and criteria, not only for one country but internationally across the borders.
The Visionaries of Uganda Awards 2024 were held under the theme Celebrating Excellence and Strengthening Sustainable Inclusive Socio-Economic Development. Justine Nakami, UBC News.
Uganda has pledged to end HIV and tuberculosis by 2030, but with the deadline looming, there are growing concerns to meeting this goal. State Minister for Health Special Duties Hanifa Kaweya says that Uganda needs to employ more of the community-centered approaches to achieve the goal by 2030.
Mayende Lamu, the Busia District HIV/AIDS focal person, highlights progress in reducing infections and death. However, specific groups face higher risks: commercial sex workers, fishing communities, those in prisons, and homosexuals.
So as far as HIV/AIDS is concerned, the national prevalence to date is 5.1%. While for us as a district, what we have registered is 3.9% in the general population. But nonetheless, in different age groups and in different sectors, we see a fairly higher prevalence. For example, as a district, we see among our commercial sex workers, that's where we have a little bit of a high prevalence of about 15%.
The prevalence is higher among women than men. Lamu credits partnerships with civil society organizations, prevention campaigns, and psychosocial support.
Now, what's key about this is that the prevalence is almost 3 times higher among the women as compared to the men. That's basically a fair picture on the statistics of HIV in the district.
Teenagers remain vulnerable, with some becoming sex workers in bars and lodges, according to Asimwe from Masafu General Hospital.
Correction right there. That was a story about the authorities in Busia district reporting a decline in HIV and AIDS and other sexually transmitted infections, despite the rising concern of a famous event called Disco Matanga and an increase in bars and lodges attracting teenagers. Thank you, Kaye, for the details on that story. In more stories, Uganda has pledged to end HIV and AIDS and tuberculosis by 2030, but with the deadline looming, there are growing concerns to meeting this goal. Take a look as David reports.
TB are often referred to as co-epidemics due to their strong and deadly connection. Persons living with HIV are susceptible to TB due to the compromised immune systems. TB in turn accelerates the progress of HIV. World Health Organization records show that TB is the leading cause of illness and death among persons living with HIV. 1 in 3 persons living with HIV is infected with TB. State Minister for Health Special Duties Hanifa Kaweya says more advocacies needs to be done in multisectoral with many stakeholders involved.
Prevention is the best way we can do. We can only go to the hospitals, to health centers, where you find that the case cannot anymore be prevented at the community level. These are diseases whereby the community must be involved. So we must emphasize much on sensitization, advocacy, going to the communities and alerting them and giving them guidance.
Kaweya was closing the annual Tuberculosis and Leprosy Symposium in Munyonyo, Kampala.
Healthcare is shaped by needs to prioritize the individuals, the families, the communities, to focus on each and everybody. So primary health care services is very vital for all of us, so that we use the structures that we have in place and we address these issues.
On the International AIDS Day, Dr. Lubanga cautions against the rising prevalence.
Problem is still there for both diseases. We still see high HIV cases, but also the TB cases are still also abnormally high, and we have commitments that we have assigned to the global ones, for instance, TB control and HIV control by 2030. For HIV, we still see that the new cases weigh almost more than 3 times the number of deaths that we are having, meaning that we still have balances. The cases are increasing year by year, and what we need to see is that we accelerate the interventions that we have.
The Minister for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nabakova, has implored students at all levels to shun politics of hate and malice in such unpatriotic acts during the country's image and future. She has been addressing students from Greater Masaka who have convened at Mutasa One Royal University for a one-day youth involvement in national politics conference, as you're about to witness.
This is the youth convention dubbed Youth Involvement in National Politics, which has drawn participants from higher institutions of learning in Greater Masaka area.
We shouldn't put our nation at stake due to your personal decisions.
This has convened at Mutesa One Royal University in Masaka City. This has been graced by the Minister for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nabakova.
I would say you are our heroes as NRM. Because for somebody to have an idea, think about it, revival of NRM in our institutions, and you reach out to the different stakeholders, you mobilize and organize yourselves without even knowing where the resources will be coming from. That is something exceptional.
Mr. Nabakova welcomed the idea of this conference.
When His Excellency when they were in the bush, we may not go back to the bush right now to fight the wars in the bush, but by doing this activity you are liberating yourselves, and you are doing what is expected of you. This is one way of building NRM and make sure that NRM stands and continues forever.
Nabakova, however, warns leaders against political manipulation.
If NRM is the government which is in power, work with NRM. At your end, you have guns to overthrow government. Why do you now begin demeaning it? And opposing it? Just be interested. How am I helped to get what I want?
She strongly condemns those misusing the social media platform, mainly those tarnishing the country's image.
And majority of the people who do this, they are young people. Social media, they focus social media. And it goes viral. And we feel happy that it is viral. Even those where there are challenges, but those people don't expose themselves like that.
The convention focused on how to revive NRM party within Greater Masaka institutions.
Look at yourself. Am I patriotic enough? Do I love my country or I don't love it? Because if you love your country, you wouldn't want to annoy your colleagues. You wouldn't want to annoy your leaders. You wouldn't want anything wrong to happen. But here we are, as Ugandans. Then you find we are the ones who are addressing ourselves before the entire world.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Thank you so much, Robert Onyango. State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, has urged communities to utilize electricity to get them out of poverty. He was launching the power line from Kaliro Katono, Luchamu, Kito, Sempa to Butundu villages.
Communities living in Kaliro Katono, Luchamu, Chito, Sempa to Butundu in Luwero district have appreciated the NRM government for expanding electricity to their areas. They say they can start businesses to develop economically.
Era nenyimira munengama nti yegwe omusajja yayimirira n'onga bamunanike Saba district n'ogamba bwe muba temuli diguli 30 district musaba yaki ekyo tukikwebaliza okuyimirirawo n'oyimirira n'ogana ekyo naye kaakati ndowooza mu baamunanika n'ogikwatako obwivu bukoze eki mwebuli ate ne nkwebaza tiwayitayo chairman w'erisooba Sekamuli n'omuweerera mu myaka 5 naye olw'okuba nti Katonda amujjulira naye gali atuse mu siniya 4 sebo mutima ogwo n'omulimu ng'omuwadde sebo mutima ogwo togujjanga kubagamba kyana muwe.
Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, says government is extending electricity to rural areas under the Rural Electrification Program. He encouraged communities to utilize the power for social and economic development.
olwogenda gatwala kamera wansi teyina omulala yakonekitinzeeko ne wange olwebe naganja basasuliza okukonekitinga wayalinga enjuyo bagatunulako obutuluzi njagala amasannyalaze gano agazze enkulaakulana ezze mu kitundu tugikozese okugoba obwavu.
He appealed to the communities always to work together with police and Umeme to fight electricity theft. Dr. Muyingo also promised communities in Greater Luwero districts that government will upgrade roads beginning with Kabimbiri Zero Bwebamunanika to Wobulenzi.
Engudo n'oluguudo bagala dukola. Engudo zino bazikole. Nengo inako onotunda mu katale. Okugoba obwavu sikulima nnyo nti oba kyogenda okukola kina asobola okubeera n'akatale wabera wakirya bakulu basema ne banyabo byatukomewo olumu twogere ku bya kugoba bwavu.
Red Kasibante compiled this report.
Civil society pushes to reclaim investment frameworks for people and the planet with a 6-point declaration. Civil society organizations, grassroots movements, think tanks and advocacy groups working on investment and development-related issues are demanding for reforms in the frameworks of international investment agreements and policies those governments in East Africa and in Africa signed with international organizations. They've met in Entebbe municipality to devise measures to review such agreements which do not address the plight of Africans.
Zetu kuangalia hii mikataba ambayo ina sign iwe ni mikataba ambayo inatufaidisha sisi kama nchi kama bara la Afrika. Hii mikataba imekuwa ni mikataba ya kinyonyaji ambayo ukiangalia terms zake zinatufanya sisi mwisho tunakuja kushtakiwa, tunatoa hela ambazo ni nyingi sana ambazo zingeweza kutumika kwa manufaa ya nchi. Ukiangalia zingeweza kujenga shule, zingeweza kujenga hospitali, zingeweza kusomesha hata watu wetu wakienda nje wasome waweze kuja kutumika kwenye taifa lao na kuweza kuleta manufaa. Kwa hivi hii ni ombi kwa nchi zetu, kwa marais wetu, kwa wale ambao wanakwenda kusaini hii mikataba kwamba waangalie hii mikataba, wasaini mikataba ambayo itatufaidisha sisi kama nchi, itatuletea maendeleo na sio tu kusema tunaleta wawekezaji. Je, ni wawekezaji wa namna gani tunaleta katika nchi zetu? Ni mwekezaji ambaye anakuja kutunufaisha ama ni mwekezaji anakuja kutunyonya katika nchi yetu? Tuna vitu vingi sana, tuna madini, tuna mbuga za wanyama, tuna kila kitu ambacho kingeweza kutufanya sisi kama Afrika tuwe ni matajiri.
We are saying we want balanced agreements which put the people and the planet at the center. And all these mechanism, ISDS, is not doing that. So we want the people and the planet at the center of these agreements. We appreciate the fact that investments are important. We want investments, whether domestic, whether external, FDI, but they have to work for the people and the environment.
The voices of civil society, the voices of the people have for long been ignored. This declaration is a message of ya basta in Spanish, which means this must stop. We just had the COP29 where we're supposed to be negotiating, almost like begging to allocate the investment needed, the money needed for climate mitigation and adaptation. And we got a response that everybody says is not going to be enough.
Because what we want is we want investors to come in, set up some productive capacity, transfer technology, employ people, build value chains and support our business and all that. That's what we want. Those are the good things we want from foreign direct investment. But the definition of foreign direct investment also includes mergers and acquisitions. So if a company comes in, this is a real example, in South Africa, other places, comes in, buys up a factory, turns it into a warehouse for imported products, that counts as a foreign direct investment.
The Commissioner for Teacher Education in the Ministry of Education and Sports, Joseph Chikomiko, has commended African Soup for its significant contribution to Uganda's education sector by training teachers. His remarks were made during the annual Active Learning Conference held in Namutumba District, organized by the African Soup. The theme of this year's conference was Building Lifelong Learners, Empowering Teachers to Support Life Skills Development by shifting the focus to learners. Take a look.
Max Okiror, the Assistant Commissioner for Teacher Education, Training and Development, represented Chikomiko at the conference. In his speech, he emphasized that this approach not only helps students understand concepts, but also enables them to apply these concepts in meaningful real-world situations.
Possibilities for active learning. The possibilities are endless as our imagination. And with the right tools and mindset, we can transform our classrooms into dynamic spaces where learning is an exciting hands-on adventure. However, we must recognize the fact that implementing active learning requires a shift in mindset, not only from teachers, but from students, administrators, and even parents.
Rebecca Mirembe, Director of African Soup, shared an exciting milestone announcing the successful training of over 600 teachers this year. She expressed pride in the impact of their training programs on both teachers and students.
We have been able to graduate 404 teachers who were successfully able to finish up the whole course, and today we awarded them with their certificates that shows their expertise in using active learning as a method of teaching.
Dr. Moses Gusango, an educationist, expressed gratitude for the positive influence of African Soup's initiatives, which have had a notable impact on the educational outcomes of all learners in Busoga region.
I'm happy with the Soup Namutumba, and I'm happy with the arrangement that the teachers of Namutumba embrace Soup and embrace active learning. This is the only way we can get into the thinking of the children and we make their learning meaningful.
Several teachers shared their personal experiences discussing how the active learning approach has inspired innovation in their teaching methods and helped them better engage with their students.
Paul wrote a letter to Timothy. In the book of 2 Timothy, he writes a letter and says, "Go and teach them what I have taught you, so that they will be able to teach others."
The level of teachers' attitude towards teaching has improved. The coming of African interventions, at least our teachers are coming up. Let us capacitate the teachers we have, irrespective of the qualification is that we have.
We continue engaging in active learning. Support supervision is to help you, and the support supervision was not meant to do anything to you or to affect you.
Dear colleagues, let us uphold this. Let's go back and internalize what we are sharing here. We shall cause a change in Namutumba district.
The Active Learning Project, which has gained a strong support from both the Namutumba local government and the Ministry of Education, continues to make strides in improving educational standards across the region.
The Ministry of Health identified alcohol and drug abuse as major contributors to preventable diseases, with youth starting as early as 10 years old. Chirembeka has a detailed story on the Uganda alcohol policy.
The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, Dr. Kidris Turiagenda, has said that alcohol and drug abuse are major contributors to preventable diseases in Uganda.
Alcohol use, prevention, education, and link victims to relevant referral and support services.
This was in a speech delivered by the Director of Secondary Education, Haj Ismail Mulindwa, during the 4th Uganda Alcohol Policy Conference 2024 held at Makerere University.
Schools are essential institutions for social change as young people acquire knowledge, critical thinking, social emotional self-regulation.
The woman MP for Terego District, West Nile, Obiga, has emphasized the need to advance the Alcohol Control Bill 2023, aiming to regulate alcohol consumption.
And if I don't tell them, who tells them? If I don't tell you, who will tell you? Parents have run out of their responsibilities to look after their children. These night markets mushrooming in all parts of the villages.
The principal youth officer from the Buganda Kingdom, Hassan Chiemba, stressed the importance of tackling drug abuse among youth, citing its detrimental effects on mental health.
It has been an effect, especially on the youth. Everyone has at least a person who has been affected in one way or another. I am in schools, but you see how school-going children go into alcohol.
The coordinator of Uganda Alcohol Policy, Nasanga Margaret, highlighted the necessity of increasing community sensitization on alcohol and drug abuse to safeguard the nation's future.
Parents, teachers, we've had stakeholders from Ministry of Health, from Ministry of Gender, we have people from Ministry of Finance, and they're all coming to see what can we do to sort the alcohol problem in the country.
Boaz Musimenta from the Office of the Prime Minister noted that the government incurs significant losses as young people spend unproductive hours on alcohol consumption.
For others failing to study because of alcohol, if you look at the social development sector, they will tell you society, the ills of alcohol in society, social disorder.
Richard Chirembeka compiled this story for UBC News.
There is only one rule you must follow in order to be a winner. Number 1, defeat the undefeatable. You, step forward. I want you to box the air until it falls down. I'm not seeing it falling in. You see it falling in. Box, winning is hard. But with MTN Momo, it's easy. Simply pay or shop with Momo for a chance to win mobile money every day. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3#.
Amazina ganje ninyetwe kwa Seruhanga John Bosco ninduga mu district ya Rukungiri njyo muhanguzi wa miliyoni 18 na Uganda National Rotary nzahangwire urwo mu kuzana *278# ngafuna message eriko mu njyo muhanguzi nashemererwa konka nabaza kugira ngo nedi y'abafere sente ziriyo zona bakaziteka ko nazihangwira.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Tuberculosis Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Uncle Mo, hasiri koja tukwasa. Vayo na wasajja batusonyiye. Chikakasi. Vayo.
Government has done it. Uganda Revenue Authority has taken you off the burden of paying interests and penalties. All you have to do is to pay your outstanding principal tax to benefit from the waiver of interests and penalties that runs till the end of December 2024. Call us on our toll-free line or email services@ura.go.ug.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. In our business stories, the Microfinance Support Center has joined hands with the Rukunjiri Cooperative Union to address poverty. They have established Rukunjiri Piggery Demonstration Farm in Nyakajeme Sub-County, Rukunjiri District. This initiative provides modern piggery practices and resources to beneficiaries, empowering locals to embrace sustainable livelihoods.
Rukunjiri District, the partnership between the Microfinance Support Center and the Rukunjiri Producer Cooperative Union is changing lives through the Rukunjiri Piggery Demonstration Project. Chairperson of Rukunjiri Cooperative Union, Dr. Sam Akankwasa, says the initiative, funded by the Microfinance Support Center, will transform communities.
Of fighting poverty through piggery farming. We were joined by other districts like Kanungu, Tungamo, those are the 5 districts now. And in all those districts, people come here and train them for free. And now we are able to give pigs and piglets to the communities.
The demonstration farm provides piggery manure to over 4,000 beneficiaries, invests in modern farming techniques, and links them to other government wealth creation programs. Rukunjiri District Chairperson Sharon Kyomugisha says the Microfinance Support Center fosters financial discipline and sustainable growth, enabling the neighboring communities to tap into the multi-million shillings project's success.
There are so many groups that have benefited. We greatly cherish it because when they get these pigs, they go and start one, they work as a group. When they work as a group, they develop together. They minimize conflicts. They minimize any segregations, be it religious, tribal, what. So this time, these groups are combined under one item of fighting poverty. So that sort of teamwork promotes unity and promotes development.
Microfinance Support Center Zonal Manager Boaz Tuhumure told UBC that the initiative focuses on financial literacy and solves land fragmentation.
And we don't only teach piggery farming practices only, we also teach financial literacy. We teach these groups how to record their books. We teach these groups how to access even credit, because we have even groups out of this that have been able to benefit by accessing credit out of our mainstream in a microfinance support center.
The project's positive impact was celebrated during a free pig distribution exercise at Kasholoza village, Nyakajeme Sub-County. Bella Masangano and Robert Bwaita for UBC News.
Uganda's manufacturing sector is experiencing rapid growth, with Naman, the Industry and Business Park, at the heart of the transformation. State Minister for Investment and Privatization, Evelyn Anite, told UBC currently factories at Naman, the Industry Park and Business Park have increased from 22 in 2016 to over 250 operational factories. Take a look.
Manufacturing contributes 26.5% of Uganda's gross domestic product (GDP), with emphasis on producing competitive high-quality goods. State Minister for Privatization and Investment Evelyn Anite launched the first high-end smartphone maker assembled by Simi Mobile in Namamve Industrial and Business Park.
Made in Uganda for Ugandan, and so therefore by it Ugandans.
I was so excited to see that all the companies that we allocated land, and I participated to making sure that they get land. They're now in the construction stage, and some of them have finished construction, and that the traffic is growing in the industrial park. So it's very exciting that industrialization is happening in the land which was once barren, which was a land known for people to be killed and guillotined and their heads dumped in this place. So now it is nothing but job creation, it is nothing but import substitution. It's very exciting news for us as a country.
Minister Anite calls upon Ugandans to participate in the manufacturing sector and promote the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda BUBU.
Access to market is really not such a big problem. I told you what we have to focus our energies on is largely the quality of the product. And I have no doubt in the semi-product that it has very good quality. That's why even the government entities like Uganda UCC, Uganda Communication Commission, Ministry of Education, Ministry of ICT, they're all buying these products and making Ugandans use. So the local demand, because the product has been certified, is high, and the international demand is equally high. So we just have to make sure that we support them so that they build the capacity to become the leading mobile phone manufacturing plant in the whole of Africa.
Simi Mobile started operations in 2019, began with assembling basic mobile phones, then smartphones. The plant also assembles tablets, smart water meters, projectors, computers, and Wi-Fi routers.
Everyone should own a smartphone. And it's the reason why we had to get this phone, the maker, to see that it gets into the hands of each and every Ugandan, be it an old woman in the village, and they will be able to use this smartphone.
Simi Mobile proprietor stated that they are improving Uganda's technological revolution.
Day by day, we grow up. We start selling basic smartphone, and now we start selling the high-end smartphone. And also, nowadays, I'm very excited because one of our smartphone, named the C1, now is hot cake on Jumia platform.
In partnership with Simba Telecom and Jumia, they will support the locally made product as part of the government's Buy Uganda, Build Uganda BUBU campaign.
Technology has evolved. We have all got to embrace the new technology, and going digital is the only way forward. I salute my brother Iris for making that bold step to say, let us make smartphones in Uganda, because we are all importing them from other countries. So that I salute you for, and I want to walk this journey with you. Simba Telecom will be there side by side, shoulder by shoulder with you.
Super happy to be partner with Simi, and we are delighted to be partner and able to distribute goods for you.
The Maker smartphone is a symbol of Uganda growing technological capabilities and commitment to produce competitive high-quality goods.
You used to tell me that I don't make you happy. All that time you would be complaining. I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby dondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks, Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
You're welcome once again to UBC News Tonight, and in the last segment of UBC News Tonight from the sports desk, the Uganda national swim team has flagged off 7 athletes that will represent the country ahead of the 2025 African Aquatic Zone 4 Championships that are set for Namibia starting on the 4th of this month. Take a look.
The Zone 3 crown in Burundi a week ago, Team Uganda is ready for the Africa Aquatic Zone 4 Championship in Namibia. The president of the Uganda Olympic Committee, Dr. Donald Rukare, flagged off the team at the elite swim and gym in Tinda.
This event is quite competitive. There's 7 swimmers we are flagging off here, 5 male and 2 female. Will be able to run to their personal best, but also it's quite competitive, zone 4, and we believe that by taking part in this event, it will lift their quality and their time. So it will be a good experience for them to gauge themselves against quite competitive swimmers from other countries and other zones.
7 athletes will represent Uganda at the 20th edition of the Games under coach Ezra Kalai. Team Uganda will make personal best times at the championships.
So I really hope all the athletes will be able to also make good PBs, but on top of that also be able to experience racing long course properly. I know that some of these swimmers are a bit, especially the younger swimmers, are a bit inexperienced with long course swimming. And I feel like this would be a good gateway for them to really learn what close to world-class swimming looks like.
Well, I think we're prepared because we did really good in Burundi and we came first place. So I think we can take that kind of encouragement to Namibia.
But I expect enough from Team Uganda. I know we're going to do well. Even if we're a small team, I know we're an impactful team, like they said. We're going to go and lift this nation high and make sure that everyone is proud of our performance.
Uganda will aim to finish the year on a high while in Namibia. Mashamira Victor, UBC News.
The youth converged to commemorate World AIDS Day at Kiswa Primary School in Bugolobi through sports. The message that was uttered out towards the youth was how they can use sports to curb the spread of HIV and AIDS. Miro reports.
Involved Seashores, an initiative project funded by Care International that focuses on adolescents who are out of school countrywide. The message that was uttered out towards the youth was how they can use sport as one way to curb the spread of HIV/AIDS in Uganda.
So we are doing this because adolescents prefer using sports. We are passing on information on HIV prevention, but also GBV awareness among our youth and adolescents. So we are with the youth as we are enjoying, we are also creating awareness. So for Reach Out, for SheSowers as a project, for Care International, we usually do this to make sure that it's one approach that we use to reach the youth, all the adolescents who are out of school.
The Sports Day was to show that through sports an awareness can be made to remove stigma in Uganda.
Basically, I came up with this idea to create awareness about HIV, especially at community level, because Reach Out works with the less fortunate, those who wouldn't really have access to medical care. So I have decided to work with Reach Out to bring this event together, bring the community together, raise awareness to the teachers, to the parents, to the students, to remove this stigma against HIV and also to have fun.
Youth from Reach Out Mbuya, Uganda Youth, Chiswa Village and Seashores all gathered for a day of fun-packed activities that included football, musical chairs, to mention but a few. One of the players expressed their joy on how these activities enabled them to bring them together.
It has brought us together. We have met new friends. The day was nice to us.
Besides the sports activities, the general experience was felt by the youth on the grounds. These activities enabled the youth to correlate with one another in spite of their insecurities.
So apart from the trophy, when the children come together, they can share different experiences. They can talk about their health with their fellow positives, because this brings together the positives and negatives. So when they interact, they get insight, and I was talking to one of the members and she was telling me that these kinds of events are really important to help the children understand the benefits of taking their medicine, taking it on time and taking it regularly. So these kinds of events enable the students and the children to share those experiences and really benefit health-wise and also for entertainment and for fun.
Uganda has a target plan of ending AIDS by the year 2030. It is estimated that 1.4 million people are living with HIV, with 800,000 of those indicated as children. Mashamiro Victor, UBC News.
The Uganda Sports Press Association, USPA, has elected a new executive committee for the 2024-2026 term. All top positions filled and opposed. Moses Lubega has returned as president, promising a new era of innovation and growth for the association. The elections held at the Uganda Olympic Committee offices in Lugogo were conducted in accordance with the association's constitution, with Elijah Dowsey serving as the returning officer. USPA also released its financial report for the year ending October 31st, 2024. The association reported a total income of 62,463,000 Ugandan shillings, including a significant donation of 60 million Ugandan shillings. Expenditures for the year amounted to 50,785,150 Ugandan shillings, leaving a surplus of 11,677,850. The newly elected executive committee comprises Moses Lubega, President; Shafiq Senoga, General Secretary; Francis Bwambale, Organizing Secretary; and UBC's Amon Gawo as the Treasurer.
Moses Al-Said Lubega.
So we feel that in the second term, besides consolidating this, we are looking at expanding our national stakeholdership. This, in a way, reaching out to agencies for more lobbying, sponsorships, but also to build a better relief fund to alleviate members in terms of welfare and in terms of the enterprise. We want to build enterprises for members that they can use to invest their money and return a small portion to us. So by building individual enterprises, we believe that our members' value is going to be grown and it's going to be tightened. Those are some of the undertakings that we feel will collaborate with our aspirations for the incoming term.
I've actually been looking forward to serving USPA, not only in this capacity, but in different capacities. Initially, I enrolled myself to look out for sponsorships. And if you look through these past 2 years, we've had 2 new sponsors. I promise that it's not about keeping the money, but we're going to look for the money. You can't have USPA that doesn't have money. Everyone must have the money at hand.
UOC, we are proudly associated with USPA because we believe that we share similar values and aspirations, and we would like to thank you and through you, your membership, for what you do to amplify sports in Uganda. There is no doubt that USPA remains the leading press association related to sports, and we always value our relationship between Uganda Olympic Committee and USPA.
Thank you so much for being a part of UBC News tonight from 8 p.m. to exactly 9 p.m. My name is Sharon Kyomugisha. Do join me later on at 10 p.m. for more news coming your way. Stay tuned on UBC TV, inspiring Uganda. Bye-bye.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.